Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very beautiful day and a very productive week, and you're gonna have a very productive week and a very productive day and a very very wonderful day. It's very beautiful day today. It's so sunny, full of the sky is blue. It's very beautiful and very great. I'm very happy to exactly keep shooting all these episodes with you guys, and it makes me want to exactly keep doing more and doing more, filling more, and keep going more and more with this series of Universal Heroes and the adventures that come along with it. Exactly. Today we had to talk about Elderly Granny Witch, who's a high-ranking official, who's a high-ranking official member in Lord Shadowjack's empire. Elderly Granny Witch is a member of Lord Shadowjack's empire and has been a member for centuries and for centuries to come. Within the centuries, he teams up with the other dark warlocks and with the other dark power witches and also the dark hunters of Lord Shadowjack's empire. Elderly Granny Witch uses her dark magic and her dark science and with the dark science with the dark technology science with their intellect with the raw intellect and science intellect in order to combine dark magic and science to develop weapons for Lord Shadowjack's empire and also to powering up the red and yellow dark boxes, as I previously exactly said on the previous episode, in order to exactly fuel the Empire's need and its goals to conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations. Elodie Granowich is very ambitious and very determined enough to make sure that Lord Shadowjack's empire becomes the most formidable and the most powerful, dominant force in the entire sacred universe, in the rest of sacred existence, no matter the risk and no matter the cost of it. She views the universal heroes in the Universal Space Hero and the Intergalactic Coalition, the United Heroes and the World Heroes, as a threat to the mission and a threat to Lord Shadowjack's power and a threat to her mission and a threat to the Master's goal and a threat to the entire goal in conquering vast worlds and vast planets and the sacred universe itself and the sacred world itself throughout sacred existence by any means necessary. Despite this, Adelaide Granuwich is very powerful and very heavily skilled with dark magic, able to wield a powerful dark staff that has the ability that has the ability of conjuring dark energy blast, and dark energy powers and dark abilities that she can exactly use to defend herself and also to guard herself and also to defend herself and also to protect herself. Adelaide Granuwich we conveyed with the members of Lord Shadowjack's empire, and reassured them that her device is quietly active enough to put it to the test to absorbing shadow energy across other planets. She uses dark magic powers and abilities with the work of the power of the dark witches in order to combine the abilities in extracting as much shadow energy and as much light and as much magic and as much light energy across planets and across worlds in order to harvesting it for their master and for their master's control for their master and for their master in order to exactly dominate his presence and his rule to the entire known universe and to the rest of sacred existence by doing so. Ellie Granary tested the device, and device testing was so fascinating. It extracted all the shadow energy from the dark worlds and from the dark planets, able to extract it in less than a few momentary of minutes, and the extraction didn't exactly take long. Took less than a minute of an hour, and the extraction was quietly good. The planet was quietly barren of life after the extraction was quietly worked, and all the planets, all the dark worlds lost all their power source and all the energies. They were quietly lifeless without shadow energy, more lifeless and more darker than ever. Adelaide Granovich was exactly happy that the device was quietly active and that it exactly fulfilled its purpose and its needs in order to fuel Lord Shadowjack's empire and also its goals and also his goals in harvesting all the shadow energy and all the light energy across worlds and across planets. In doing so, Lord Adelaide Granuish began able to combine shadow energy with dark science and dark technology in order to create destructive weapons for Lord Shadowjack's empire in order to refuel its empire, in order to refuel its empire's needs and also its power by making deals with the Shadow Empire warlords, giving them destructive technology and destructive powers to enable to power up their battleships and their battle cruisers when they went into war with the Intergalactic Coalition. Within 3 months or 4 months, Adelaide Greenwich was present in a video conference with the members of the Sacred Circle, and we assured them that she will exactly deal with the Universal Heroes and the rest of the Intergalactic Coalition. And all she asked for was exactly time and need that she exactly required from the members of the Sacred Circle. Queen Ivy was exactly quietly not pleased with this counteraction, but Lord Ra was very quietly pleased and quietly was very quietly reassured that Adelaide Greenwich would deal with the threat as she quietly promised the members of the Sacred Circle, as she quietly promised the members of the Sacred Circle. Max Passes, the Universal Heroes in the Intergalactic Coalition, liberated many worlds from the Shadow Empire, able to fight with the Shadow Empire. The battle was quietly momentary. There were casualties on no enormous amounts of casualties on both sides. Warboy and Universal Boy were able to save lives, able to fight off the Shadow Empire, battling the Shadow Empire warlords, and able to liberate all the other worlds from the Shadow Empire's control. And the Intergalactic Coalition waged war with the Shadow Empire's warlords, able to defeat them, forcing them to retreat, taking them out, taking some of them ultimately into custody. Some of the other Shadow Empire warlords were able to exactly inform Adelaide Greenwich of the development and the victory that the Intergalactic Coalition and the Universal Heroes had on the Universal Heroes had on a victory over the battle and over the war itself. Adelaide Greenwich was quietly happy that she can exactly begin activating her dark magic device that can easily destroy planets and other worlds. She began activating her dark magic device on her space station, able to destroy planets and destroy worlds with one fell swoop, which it exactly did in doing so. It decimated all the other planets and all the other worlds, leaving death and destruction across space and across the sacred universe itself, able to exactly test her power and to test the limits of her device in doing so. Adelaide Greenwich was very pleased that her device was exactly fascinating, was exactly extraordinary with the power it possesses, able to destroy worlds and planets in one fell swoop. And this time she was prepared enough to test the device on testing the device on the Intergalactic Coalition and the rest of the heroes, who she was able to he was exactly fully ready to confront them. On November the 26th, Adelaide Greenwich base has been invaded by members of the Intergalactic Coalition, and a druid known as Shang, who was a rebel fighter, was exactly trying to liberate as much of the captive members, the captive miners who were quietly held captive against their own will. Adelaide Greenwich anticipated this, and she began activating her device in order to destroy them within her home base by using the dark druids and the dark witches in order to protect the device, and telling them to exactly it's time for them to defend the device and to defend the sanctum in their home base. By doing so, the battle was quietly conclusive when the battle quietly launched against the rebels and against the members of the Intergalactic Coalition, and the liberation was quietly handful until the Granny sought out the opportunity to activate her dark device, and she exactly did in doing so. It almost decimated half of the captive and half of the other rebels in doing so. But in doing so, shortly, the rebels were able to escape through a portal and able to exactly take some of the captive rebels, able to liberate some of the captive rebels within a blast radius. Adelaide Greenwich was very quietly happy that her device power and the energy of the device and the capacity of her device energy and capacity was able to exactly work in a short distance range, and its power was beyond massive and beyond extraordinary and beyond powerful and beyond great. She was very pleased with the results she was able to exactly get. She was able to exactly reconvene with the members of the Sacred Circle, and we assured them that her test device is quietly active and quietly ready for phase 2. But Lord Ra informed her to take a step back and hold her operations in order to focus on whether the Intergalactic Coalition and the Shadow Empire were still at war with each other, and they also told her to exactly hold off her missions and operations in order to exactly let the battle between the two sides continue to go on. She exactly reassured Lord Ra that should exactly tip off Lord Justin's commander power in order to launch a full scale attack on the rest of the intergalactic coalition's forces, and the rest and the rest of the Universal Heroes forces, which exactly did. The battle between two sides was quietly enormous. Two sides suffered enormous amounts of casualties. There were injuries. There were injuries on both fronts that were able to exactly ultimately take some of the Shadow Empire warlords into custody. Some of them were ultimately able to teleport out. Some of them were able to literally teleported. Some of them were able to open a portal with the technology given to them, and some of them were able to escape custody. Others were not exactly able to escape custody so much. Some of the other Shadow Empire warlords were able to reconvene with Elderly Granovich, and within Elderly Granovich space asteroid base, and able to exactly reassure her that they'll destroy the Intergalactic Coalition and decimate them by any means necessary. Elderly Granovich despised the word, took them upon their word, and exactly told them to proceed with a plan, and that she was exactly told to proceed with a plan, and that she was exactly told them to proceed with a plan, and that she'll exactly wait for more outcomes of the battle and more news of the battle and more outcomes and more news of the battle as she exactly took time. While in doing so, taking time hearing news of the battle, she convened with Mr. Fox, who is a supervillain on planet Earth, and Mr. Fox exactly told her that she will use the public's eye in order to disgrace these heroes and these vigilantes by any means necessary in order to exactly take out their public profile. But the heroes launch a full-scale attack on the publicity and on showing the public that they're exactly doing their work and their mission in order to exactly protecting humanity and mankind from all threats and from all sinister forces by any means necessary, which made Mr. Fox very angry and very, 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 very furious with this result. In doing so, Elderly Granovich began her mission and began raiding other planets and raiding other star systems in order to taking their minerals and their acid and their crystal powers, the blue crystal technologies and all other substance in order to power up her device and to power up her device and her technologies with dark magic and all other interference. She was able to reconvene with the members of Lord Shadowjack's empire. The power, which is the dark power, which is wanting to know what are the results of her mission and what is exactly the next step of the plan. She reassured them that her plan is quietly going accordingly to plan, as she was exactly conquering vast worlds and vast civilizations and vast planets within for Lord Jack. For Lord Shadowjack's rule and for his dominance, exactly as she exactly instructed them, actually exactly reassured them. But they were very quietly, Lord the Dark Witch Eve was very quietly certain about that, and she was very quietly eager to see the results happening in action. The Intergalactic Coalition was able to liberate thousands of worlds and thousands of civilizations from the Shadow Empire, forcing them into a war zone with the Shadow Empire, able to exactly fight off each other, and they were able to exactly battle each other for months. And for months, the United Heroes were able to intervene and were able to fight off some of the Shadow Empire warlords, liberating thousands of worlds and thousands of planets and thousands of star systems from the Shadow Empire's control, liberating the sacred universe from the Shadow Empire's control and grip that has been tightening on. In doing so, they were able to exactly save all those planets and all those worlds. The battle was quietly conclusive as every battle cruiser went down, and all the other battle cruisers were quietly decimated within space, and some of the fleets were decimated within space, and all of the fleets were decimated within space. The Intergalactic Coalition was able to capture some of the members, some of the other Shadow Empire warlords, and ultimately taking them into custody, sending them straightly to the Astral Prison to be interrogated and to be taken to the prison in order to be rehabilitated, and also to be questioned about their tactics and who they exactly associated with, and who are they exactly associated with, and who exactly are they working for, and who they exactly working with, and who exactly they forming an alliance with. Some of the Shadow Empire warlords were able to escape through opening up a portal, and able to exactly reconvene with Elderly Granovich and exactly reassuring her that the plan was quietly unsuccessful and that the mission quietly took on a very dark turn, and 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 a very dark mysterious turn, and all of the associates were ultimately taken into custody by the Intergalactic Coalition and by the Universal Heroes. She was quietly undispleased with the results and decided it's time to activate her device by any means necessary, which she quietly did, exactly activating her device and destroying the other worlds. But luckily, the Universal Space Heroes and the Universal Defenders, led by Lytrus and led by Rock, were able to exactly intercept her and were able to exactly fight off with her. They were able to confront her head on, and they were able to fight her on her home asteroid base. And they were able to exactly fight on her and the rest of the Dark Druids and the rest of her forces. and they were able to exactly forcing them, all of them, to retreat. They were able to tell Atherley Granovich that the next time she activated her device, they were able to exactly destroy it. Lytris, the Light Hunter and the leader of the Universal Defender, used her light ability to destroy the device with her power and with her magic, and which shattered the device, which shattered the dark technology device and the dark magic device, which was powered up by the dark magic device and dark energy, shattered it and destroyed it completely, leaving the device barren, and also quietly barren, fully leaving the device barren, and on liberating all the shadow energy and all the light energy, completely returning it to its normal, completely returning the dark world to the normal state and to a normal view, and exactly threatening Atherley Granovich if she ever activated a device, if she ever activated and uses a device like this, they were able to destroy it, and they were able to destroy the device and its power and its energy, which she told Atherley Granovich she knows exactly how to destroy the device, and she knows exactly how to completely destroy it and decimate it with her newfound abilities of light energy and light magic. Atherley Granovich able to open a portal and into her able to teleport out, and she teleported out in a very fast, quick, and a very fast distance. She was able to exactly inform. She was exactly able to inform her master at the throne room of her dark of his dark world, of his dark, able to inform her master Lord Shadowjack, and exactly told him that the implementation of her device being destroyed were destroyed because of the universal heroes, and because of the world heroes, and because of the universal defenders, and because of the universal space heroes, and because all of her hard work has gone into waste. And Lord Shadowjack was very quietly displeased with the results, and was very quietly unhappy at the throne room. He was very quietly disappointed. Despite this, Atherley Granovich is very quietly adaptable in fighting in hand-to-hand combat. She's an immortal being with immortality. She has immortality, and she has a strategist, a master tactician, and she's very adaptable with her dark staff, able to use it to blast dark energies, and dark powers and dark abilities. She's very quietly adaptable in strategy, able to think 10 steps ahead of strategy, able to teleport out, able to form an alliance with other super criminals such as Queen Ivy, Wreck, such as Queen Ivy, Kane, Shadow Child, Superior Child, Air Child, or Lord Ra, Dark Druids, Dark Witches, Dark Faithful, able to form an alliance with them in order to join forces with their resources, to combine their resources in order to conquer the known universe and the rest of sacred existence and all the other worlds. In doing so, Atherley Granovich is very skilled in hand-to-hand combat. She's an immortal being with immortal powers. She's very skilled in dark magic, in all abilities of dark magic, able to teleport, able to open portals, able to use her dark staff able to use her dark staff to create gateways to other worlds and other dimensions, able to use her raw intellect to combining dark magic with dark science, with her science abilities to create destructive weapons for Lord Shadowjack's empire, to refueling Lord Shadowjack's empire, and giving it more power and giving it more purpose to remain the dominant force, and the most 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 dominant power play in the entire intergalactic conflict, in the entire sacred intergalactic conflict. She's very a master manipulator, manipulating her forces and her minions to do her bidding for her, and manipulating the new prodigies of her work known as the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches, the new prodigies of her Dark Druids and the Dark Hunters and the rest of the new Power Witches as her students to do her bidding, and she trains them with greatness and with great agility to fulfill her work and to fulfill her mission. She has her home base within space known as the Asteroid Base, which is far in deep space, in sacred space, able to exactly operate there. She teleported her asteroid base after she was defeated, and able to exactly relocate it in another sector of sacred space, far away from where it was exactly detected from the universal spaces and from the universal defenders, and exactly kept it there secretive, able to train her children to fight in hand-to-hand combat. She's very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, in master tactician, able to exactly plan planning strategies and forming alliance with other Shadow Empire warlords such as Commander Power, Commander Sky, Commander Fire, Commander Ice, Commander Ice, Commander Power, Commander Ice, Commander Water, able to exactly working together with those other commanders and forming an alliance with other supervillains such as Mr. Fox and Mr. X, Mr. X, Ghostmaster, Metal Face, Golden Knight, Golden Knight, and all the other villains in order to utilize their resources for her ultimate goal and for her master's goal to conquering the entire sacred universe and the entire sacred worlds and the rest of the known universe by putting his domain and his rule. She'll do whatever it takes to make her master's rule become the most dominant force and the most dominant empire in the entire sacred universe by making sure that Lord Jack's empire is the most powerful and is the most in the most in the most in the most indestructible empire and untouchable and invisible in an invisible empire, an invisible empire, an invincible empire throughout the sacred universe and throughout the rest of sacred existence. She'll do whatever it takes to power up and fuel its ambition and its goals by any means necessary. Elderly Granny, which has the power of flight, the power of intelligence, the power of teleportation, the power of opening portals, the power of using her dark staff to create portals, and the power of training her proteges to fight in hand-to-hand combat and using their dark abilities to teleport, opening portals to fight in hand-to-hand combat, and using their dark magic skills to fight against their opponents and their adversaries known as the Universal Defenders, the Universal Heroes, the Universal Space Heroes, and the United Heroes, and the World Heroes, and the Intergalactic Coalition. She hates them all, and she hates them all with their guts and with their grip, and she despises them all with her very life because she sees them as a threat to her master's power, ruling and to his conquest and conquering the rest of the sacred universe. And his empire is a top rival competitor over the Shadow Empire. She'll do whatever it takes to make it the dominant force and the most powerful, formidable empire throughout sacred history and throughout the sacred universe and throughout sacred existence itself. She's very, very, very intelligent and very powerful. She uses shadow energy to create destructive technologies and destructive tech and destructive weapons for Lord Shadow Jack's empire and supplying it frequently to the terrorist organization known as the Outer Circle and the Outer Line, and the members and the lieutenant of the organization in order for them to fuel the ambition and their goal in terrorizing planet Earth and also in its inhabitants in creating energy goblin creatures in order to use them as their personal enforcers. Elderly Greenwich will do whatever it takes to put Lord Shadow Jack's empire at the top of the game and making sure that it stays at the top of the game and that it stays and keeps, and she'll make sure that she'll keep evolving Lord Shadow Jack's empire by any means necessary. She's very, very ambitious as she made plans to take seat at Lord Shadow Jack's empire with the rest of the members and with the rest of her forces. The rest of the members are the power dog witches, the dog power witches, the dog druids, the dog witches, the dog druids, the dog witches, the dog faithful, Adelaide Granny Witch, dog right, dog left. These are the members of Lord Shadow Jack's empire. They are the most efficient members, high-ranking official members in Lord Shadow Jack's empire. They are fiercely loyal to him, and they quietly will do whatever. They're devoted to him, to Lord Shadow Jack. They're devoted to him, and they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that his empire remains a dominant force against the Shadow Empire, and by forming alliances with the other Shadow Empire worlds, by sourcing themselves in order to further Lord Shadow Jack's empire, in order to put it at the top of the sacred universe, and making sure it stays the most powerful, dominant force against all odds and against the Universal Heroes. She fought with the Universal Heroes over some time and over a year ago within July, within the 3 of July, and she was able to confront them within the earlier time. And she was able to exactly had a mysterious confrontation with Magic Girl, with Universal Magic Girl, and able to exactly follow the fight between her and her was very quietly conclusive in the early years and with her early life. But with her early life with Magic Girl, she was able to fight with Magic Girl in her early life, and she was able to exactly fight with her. Her earlier confrontation with her and left her hungry and literally thirsting in order to fight with Magic Girl again, in order to exactly fight. When she heard that she became a member of the Universal Hero, she was very quietly looking for a rematch, and she was very quietly thirsty looking for a rematch and a replay in order to exactly fight her and take her down once and for all. No matter this, at the cost of this, in Elderly Granny Witch's Elder Life, in Elder Life, she became a full member, a full high-ranking official member in Lord Shadow Jack's empire, able to exactly giving it power, giving it invincibility, giving it invincibility, making it untouchable, making it the strong, dominant force in the entire sacred universe, making sure that the entire sacred universe is well aware of Lord Shadow Jack's reign and rule by any means necessary. She operates within her asteroid base in order to spread Lord Shadow Jack's domain across the known universe and across the rest of sacred existence by any means necessary. She is very much quietly an immortal being, and she's very skilled in adaptability, in adaptability of adaptability, and endurance, and in hand-to-hand combat. She's an immortal being, strategist, tactician. She's very, very skilled in hand-to-hand combat and in combat magic, in combat dark magic, in dark magic combat. She's very wise and very, very ruthless and very ambitious and very, very full of level intellect and a very level genius intellect. And she's very intelligent, not meant to be underestimated. Her raw abilities and her capabilities have left her perilous in dark magic and all of its aspects and all of its skills. Meaning that, in other words, she's very, very unpredictable in dark magic, and she's very powerful. She has the ability of teleportation, the ability of opening portals, the ability of combining dark magic with science. She has a scientific mind. She has a scientific mind and a scientific brain, combining science and dark magic together, utilizing her resources and her goals, combining science with dark magic in order to create powerful devices that can extract shadow energy and regain the power and regain the ability of opening portals between dark worlds and dark planets in order to seize control of all those worlds and all those vast worlds and vast worlds and vast planets. She operates in her home. Her central headquarters is an asteroid base, which is quietly in sacred space, in a very, very deep edges of sacred space, and she operates there in her domain, and she convened with the members of Lord Shadow Jack's empire. She convened with the members of Lord Shadow Jack's empire, and they speak and discuss the operations there. And Lord Shadow Jack rules his empire from his home planet, known as Planet Power, the most powerful dark planet and unpredictable planet in the entire sacred universe. And throughout sacred history, Planet Power has become the most dominant force across sacred existence, ruled by Lord Shadow Jack through his domain and through his throne room. He's very unpredictable and he's very unspeakable. Elodie Granuwich will do whatever it takes to devote herself to him, and she'll do whatever it takes in her power to exactly support him, strengthen his empire and its needs and its goals to conquering vast worlds and vast civilization. The only threat to that power is the Intergalactic Coalition, the Universal Space Heroes, the Universal Defenders, and the Intergalactic Coalition, the Universal Space Heroes, the Universal Defenders, and the Universal Heroes, the United Heroes, the World Heroes, the Fire Heroes, and any heroes who pose a threat. Elodie Granuwich will effectively remove them out of the way by any means necessary. She's a very deadly super villain, not meant to be underestimated. Her skills have left her parallels in nature. Her true nature and her true devotion is to Lord Shadow Jack by any means necessary. Her number one devotion goes to her master, Lord Shadow Jack, at any means necessary to help him and to fulfill his needs and his goals and his mastery plans and his dark plans for the rest of sacred existence and for the rest of sacred world. She will do whatever it takes in order to conquering the other universes, the Star Universe, the Mixel Universe, the Star Universe, the Mixel Universe, the Robotic Universe, the Sacred Universe, the Golden Universe, and all the other universes by any means necessary in conquering them and in placing them under his sole dominance and his sole control. She'll do whatever it takes to strengthen Lord Shadow Jack's empire and increasing its power and its rule by any means necessary. Telling you guys, she's not meant to be underestimated. She's very ambitious, very intelligent. Within her early life, Elodie Granuwich was able to experiment with shadow energy in her laboratory of her asteroid base, able to use shadow energy to create dark entities in order to exactly unlock their secrets and their power and their abilities, able to combine her dark magic with science, able to exactly unlock the secrets of the dark entities in order to merge them within her own body to become more powerful and more immortal, using dark magic in order to increase her power and her powers and her abilities, in order to strengthen her powers and abilities in case she ends up in a rivalry against Universal Magic Girl and Magic Man, Dr. Magic and Lightress and the Light Hunters and the Magic Heroes, in case she ends up fighting them or confronting them. In any case, she'll do whatever it takes in order to make sure that she sees this power, in order to make herself more powerful and more invincible against her opponents and against her adversaries who are Magic Man, Magic Girl, Dr. Magic, Sacred Man, the Four Nation Hunter leader, the Four Nation Hunters, the Magic Heroes, Magic Boy, and Universal Magic Man, and Magic Man himself, and the Universal King as well. The Universal King as well, and the Universal Princess as well. She'll do whatever it takes to even the odds in battle and in great circumstances, no matter the risk to her. She's very immortal and she's a very immortal being. In her early life, she's been experimenting with shadow energy for the rest of her life, unlocking its secrets, its powers for Lord Jack, for Lord Shadow Jack, in order for him to use that power, the power of the entity, to conquer vast worlds and vast civilization and controlling the rest of the sacred universe and the rest of sacred existence by any means necessary. She's not meant to be underestimated. Not meant to be underestimated, guys. She's the most powerful, formidable villain that the Universal Heroes and Intergalactic Coalition have ever faced. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I all hope you guys will have a beautiful, glorious day and a blessed day indeed. Stay safe and stay well and stay positive. Keep safe and stay well. Bye.